Republican on the Oversight Committee, Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee. Congressman, thanks so much for sharing part of your afternoon with us. Republicans have made a lot of allegations about Hunter Biden and his ties to the president and their business dealings. I'm curious about what specific allegation you were most wanting to ask Hunter Biden about and how he responded.
Well, I wasn't able to ask. As the 435th most powerful member of Congress, I'm generally at the end. They bring me in about the time the custodian is sweeping across the front of the thing. Oh, do you want to speak? But the reality is, I would just like to know what qualifications he's had to bring in $20 million. And if, in fact, if he's paid taxes, we know that some of that, the statute is possibly run on some of that. And in fact, if he had the qualifications, what did he produce? What did that $20 million, in fact, bring in that flowed through his family, through the Chinese communists and others?
I'm curious about the $20 million, sir, because the actual bank records show that $15 million of that money actually went to Biden family associates, not the Biden family. About $5 million, 90% of it, did go to Hunter. But I'm curious specifically how much of that money you're alleging went to Vice President Joe Biden back when he was in the White House.
Well, that's the interesting part about it, because normal businesses don't have 20 so-called shell corporations or 20 bank accounts to run their money through, so it's a very circuitous route. But if you do follow some of it, the latest, the healthcare situation where Hunter and his uncle were involved in, and then his uncle was loaned money by this corporation, which, you know, corporations, they don't normally loan folks money, and on that very same day was the day that he cut a check to Joe for several $100,000. So, you know, I loaned my brother $50 2 Christmases ago, but $200,000 seems to be a stretch. I don't know what kind of pickup truck he was buying, but that was pretty extensive. I think if you just followed that trail right there, I mean, you play down the five. Go ahead.
Those two are conflated, though, because the $200,000 was, according to documents that are coming out from the Oversight Committee, was a loan that Joe Biden gave to his brother James that was then paid back. The documents support that it was a loan. And that also happened in 2017 when Joe Biden was not vice president. And then you have the pickup truck money that was apparently given to Hunter Biden when he was struggling through his addiction. And that money was then given back by Hunter to his father, also supported by documentation, also happening in 2018 when Mike Pence was vice president. So I'll go back to my question. How much money specifically are you alleging that Vice President Joe Biden made off of his son's business dealings when he was in the White House?
I don't know, but if it's $1, he's lied about it. And you got to ask, what was the influence there? What is the brand? The brand is the Biden family. The brand is, they're not selling a service. They're not selling a product. He has no qualifications for this. The only reason he was there because he was Joe Biden's son or he was Joe Biden's brother. And that money flowed through. I mean, the money, you followed it, and it flowed even to minor children in the family. Now, what qualifications do they have? No, come on. I know you're CNN, but the reality is,
sir,
you can't look at this money. You cannot look at this.
Let's make this about the facts, sir.
No,
let's make this about the facts.
Well, this is the facts. You cannot make this.
You're again making an assertion.
You keep saying the money down. You keep saying the money, then you say, well, only $5 million. Well, does that make it okay then? But $20 million.
Sir, there is a huge distinction. Pardon me, sir. There's a huge distinction. There's a huge distinction between whether it's appropriate for the family of a president to make money off of his name and whether that's ethical. But the question is specifically about what Joe Biden did when he was in office in vice president, whether he abused his power or whether he enriched his family members. And right now, there is zero evidence coming from the Oversight Committee that when he was vice president, he did either of those things.
There's $20 million that flowed through. You saw these accounts.
That's incorrect, sir. The bank records don't reflect that.
No, sir.
They don't specifically say. I looked at the bank records. They don't say that Joe Biden got any money from them. Have you read the bank records? Because they don't list Joe Biden's name. I'm not going to let you. I'm not going to let you say things that are untrue, sir.
So, sir, the truth is that $20 million flowed through this family, whichever way it went. There's no records of taxes being paid. Statutes have run, and you're saying that
is
that
a
is
talking
okay.
point
And
that
what
you've
was
repeated,
what
but
was
it is
the
not
product?
actually
What
what's
was
in
the
the
product?
bank records, sir. What's in the bank
What
records is that
product is it that
$15
this-
million of that money never even went to the Biden family. The other $5 million, there is exactly zero
And
indication
where did that
that
$15
it went to
million
Joe
go
Biden.
to? Where did that money go to then?
To Devin Archer and other business associates related to President Biden.
There's over 20 shell corporations. Why would you set up a shell corporation that had absolutely nothing?
There's actually evidence from the Oversight Committee that those corporations had legitimate business dealings. You may define them as shell corporations the way that you see it.
Then what are they?
Some of them were consulting firms. Some of them were lobbying firms.
No, they weren't. Listen. If you want to do the interview, you just do the interview, but you're asking me a question. I'm trying to give you an answer, but
you're not giving me an honest answer, sir. You're repeating a talking point that has been debunked repeatedly. Have you read the bank records? Have you seen the bank records?
I have seen
Do they say Joe Biden's name on them?
They say Hunter Biden's name, and what was the
product he wasn't vice president.
Influence to the big guy.
He wasn't vice president.
Gave name, dates. Tony Bobolinsky gave name, dates, times, and places.
Tony Bobolinsky,
and those were pretty.
The question about the big guy.
See, you know.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say that he gave very damning testimony, and all you all want to focus on is one little grain of sand in a huge beach that has absolutely nothing to do with the final outcome. The truth is, $20 million flowed through this family.
That's
in one
false,
shape, form, or fashion or another. They had, sir, it is not. They had $20 million that flowed through. It went through shell corporations. It went through alternate bank accounts. Now, why would you have these 20 bank accounts set up if you weren't trying to? Why would banks literally send memos out that say they have no product? We have to be careful of this. We need to get shy of this. Why would they send those out? Why would banks do that? You're focusing on one little thing and you're not looking at everything else.
Sir, I honor the idea that there are questions about whether it is ethical and appropriate for the family members of an elected official to profit off of something, but I also dispute the fact that we're focused on a grain of sand. I want to get to the point about these bank investigators, because you're talking about an email from 2018 that was sent out that Republicans shared that was about banks looking into a deal struck by Hunter Biden with this Chinese firm. The email that Republicans shared that came from these people overseeing this deal was actually the last page of a 4-page document. And earlier in that document, I'm sure you've read it, I hope you have, they quote, saying that the business activity is reasonable and consistent, also that they do not see any signs of bribery. So what you're citing is actually only a small piece of something that overall by senior investigators was declared to be a legitimate business enterprise.
I never brought up anything about bribery, sir. That's your words.
You brought up the bank investigator. Did you not bring up the bank investigator?
That's it. I said that in the form that he said there is nothing that they're doing, and there's been more than one of those. You're picking one out, but what was the product they were selling? You say they were consulting. What was his background, other than being the vice president's son, other than traveling with the vice president on Air Force Two at taxpayer expense to these countries, and then you see these accounts open up in a short time thereafter? What was that about? You have to wonder. Wow, Hunter Biden, I'm going to spend millions of dollars, and he's the guy I'm going to hire. He's the guy I'm going to hire. That it can't be. There's no other thing. You can talk about this all you want. Look, I understand y'all got a lot of time invested in this presidency, but this thing's about over. It's about to come unraveled. The American public knows it, and it's just, and he won't ever serve any time. You and I both know that. This Justice Department won't even look at it. I mean, how does he get by without paying taxes on this stuff? How does the IRS all of a sudden? I have people in my district that make $20,000 and $30,000 a year that are being audited by the IRS, yet this guy they're letting the statute run. Now, come on, you got to know there's influence there, and that's wrong. All this is wrong.
Here's the thing, Congressman. There's a distinction, again, between what is ethical and appropriate and what is actually a sign of an illegal action, something that would actually lead to an impeachment. Okay. And at this point, given the documents that I've seen, I don't see evidence that you have a smoking gun that shows that when he was vice president, he abused his power to enrich himself or his family members.
His last name's Biden. That's what they were selling.
Congressman Tim Burchett,
I've enjoyed the discussion, sir. I look forward to having another one with you in the future.
You can call we can both call our therapists and say we don't need any help this week. We've already released on both of us. So thank you, brother.
Much appreciated, sir. Thanks so much.